Currently, Judge, we have $1 million in road material. And I will,
What did we propose? Was it 1 million?
That'll be on page. Go to page
we probably,
50. It's page 53,
Great, thank you.
and that top one that I gave you, that's with the minor clip.
Uh-huh. Okay, road materials, going to be
1 million.
1 million, and Bobby thinks we need to increase that to 1.1 million because of the,
increased cost of materials.
so 1.1 million, in that.
Y'all agree with that?
Well, the only other thing that I would say, is that, it's been brought up about, the senior citizen center here at Grove Tech. I've heard this for the last, maybe a month or so. Commissioner Savage, you're on that board. I know that that's something that you have brought up before. Currently, we're getting $75,000 a year. We have budgeted for that. Is there anything that you want to recommend or talk about on that?
Yes, we, at our senior citizens board meetings, we have been, I don't know if any of y'all have been over to our current center here in Groesbeck. We are like the hub. We service all the food and everything goes through Groesbeck. It goes to Mahia, to Waukena, all that Thorn and Cossey. This building that we're currently in, it's in really bad shape. I mean, it used to be it's probably over 100-year-old house is what it is. At one time, way back in the day, it was an old funeral home. It's just basically kind of a money pit. We really need a new facility for our seniors. We don't need like a Taj Mahal or anything like that, but we just need a place that's going to be, inviting and safe and efficient. And what we were hoping for is to maybe get some type of grant, and like a matching grant, and maybe with some of the land that the county owns right now, that we might could possibly build a new facility. And so that's kind of what we're looking at. And currently, we do have a pretty long waiting list of people that are also needing additional deals, but we're just limited as far as the funds and stuff, so forth. So anyway,
I know I talked to Freestone County when you came to my attention. They're putting over 100,000 a year with the senior citizen program. Would y'all have any problem? I think I'm gonna go ahead and recommend that we increase that by 90, up to 90,000, so 15,000. That's gonna be my recommendation. Anything else that, the cost you're looking at again on what you just presented today? If I understand correctly, that's gonna be 5%.
It's this sheet right here.
Okay.
And everybody has, this is, even from the changes that we made in the previous.
This is my proposal that I.
Yes. Yes, sir. And this, like I said, includes the changes that you've agreed upon in the previous meetings with the TCEQ, increasing that is what Sam does for the permits. The cost of the Lars House, the office supplies for the treasurer's office, the contract labor for the floors, the fairgrounds, increasing that salary, and then the decreasing the motor vehicle line for the sheriff's department, and then the 5% for
Okay, so
everybody.
that being the case, let me say this. One of the things that I am tasked with each year, and the hardest thing that I have to do is this book. And I try to make it as fair as we can. I ask each department to submit to me their requests. Some departments go around me trying to go other avenues, but it kind of just go through me. And I'm not trying to act like I'm somebody that has important, but still, I am the chief financial officer of this county. I'm going to present to y'all today this budget to include an additional $100,000 in the road materials and an additional $9,000 for the senior citizens board. And I'm going to officially link that into a motion because I am the chief financial officer of this county, and I have worked on this. That's a motion that I presented.
Judge,
Hang on a second, we got a motion. Do I have a second? We'll have discussion after that if I get a second. But you have a motion and a second, now discussion, go ahead.
Are we gonna be able to amend that from that point?
This is what I'm presenting to
You're presenting that to us, but then we can amend that.
we're gonna vote on it.
We'll vote on that, that's not gonna be the final budget.
It could be,
It could be, but not. Okay.
I thought we had said 15.
You said that.
I said 15, I meant 90,000, excuse me, let me amend that motion to 90,000 total. And, that's what I meant to say, so your second's still good.
Yeah.
Okay. That being the case, I need to find out if that's what we need to go forward, because, let's make absolutely sure we know something else, Natasha. We need to have, this published when.
We need to, have it published by the next, before calendar.
Okay.
If we're gonna approve.
And it's also going down on the tax rate a little bit, even more than what the local is, but we're actually giving the taxpayers a little bit more money, not a lot, some, right?
Correct, because you told me, when we discussed yesterday, to do the tax rate at the 0.7118.
And that's the actual voters, where we have to go to the voters to do things higher than that.
7.118,
711.
117.
117, yes.
7117. That's what's on the diminished rate, which was an additional, that would be at 3.61.
Yes.
Instead of 3.5, we talked about.
3.61% decrease is what I'm talking about.
I was going back on the sheet that Stacy had given,
And what is that?
because the voter approval rate is the 0.7130.
Uh-huh.
And then yesterday, when we discussed, to go the one below that,
And what is that?
the 7118.
It says 7117 on this sheet.
Oh, you should have a second sheet.
But we're talking about the same thing, just refigured.
Talking about 100%.
Yeah.
On the second sheet lists, all, like, there's probably 30 rates on there.
It's on the second page.
So this says 71172.
The second page, right?
No, we're in.
For the actual rate that we're going to approve.
I'm good with that 7.7117, which would be or 1.8, would be 8 now.
Yeah, 7, and the reason that we're, like, once again, we try to find ways to save money, but the purpose of saving money is to save money so the taxpayers don't have to come up with more money. A lot of times we find an easy way to spend money, that's easy. We always find money to spend, because we need things, but then sometimes we don't need things, we just want things.
Judge, we're still in discussion over the motion of the second.
Right.
And in discussion, we still can amend that.
No, we're gonna set the tax rate today.
Well, the tax rate, fine.
We're gonna
That's be a
Here
separate.
in a minute, we're gonna go to that, the actual tax rate, but right now we're in the budget workshop.
But what I'm saying is, you've got a motion and a second.
Right.
And then the budget workshop, we can still change things on the budget. Okay, good.
Okay. Let me make sure of what you just said. I'm presenting, and we've got a motion and a second, to approve the budget that I have presented.
Temporarily.
This will be the budget that I've approved, that I'm recommending to y'all. Now, y'all can approve it or disapprove it.
But if we approve that, then we can later in this budget workshop, make other motions to change the proposed budget.
Okay. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, fine. So, at this time then, I think we have an idea of what we want to do. We have a motion in a second. I'll ask now for a vote and we'll go down the line. Commissioner Ford?
Yay.
Yay on my motion, Commissioner Friday? Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
And Commissioner Shaw?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, Judge, I want to make a motion
okay.
that we add $1 an hour to the salary or the hourly deputies in the patrol division.
Going up to how high? Well, you have a motion.
One-
We'll go to the discussion. We did
$1 an hour, that'll raise, according to the figures I have, that'll raise the
Okay.
total salary to about $46,000.
In a moment, once we get a second, then we'll do some discussion on that to make sure we know what we're talking about. We do have a motion.
I'll second it.
We do have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, let's go down the list. Bobby?
Well, we got discussion now.
We can have discussion now, but the discussion I want to have is where going up the line do you stop? With the sergeant?
Any
Because
hourly employee in patrol. So here's my motion.
so what about CID, if they're out patrolling?
They're,
They're not all exempt.
whoever is hourly employed.
Well, then you're talking about more, then you need to readjust your numbers. There.
That's the $46,518 has those people.
That has everyone
That's
that's
correct,
not
it's
exempt.
hourly employed.
Okay, so we
$46,518.
do have a motion in a second.
Still discussing?
I'm asking y'all, do we have more discussion? I don't have any more.
Yes.
Who else?
I think we need to do that because to be competitive, where it's been said a lot of times, we need more Indians and chiefs. We're running short to stay competitive in the law enforcement industry, where it's dangerous beyond belief, and getting people in to serve, to be competitive. I think we need to be at $22 an hour. The 5% raise got us from 20 to 21. The extra dollar gets us to 22. It makes it competitive. It makes it easier to hire quality employees. It makes it easier to retain those employees so that they don't learn where the roads are and who the characters are, and then they move away because we're not paying them. I just believe for that particular, and I understand that everybody that works for the county is important. We're doing 5% across the board increase on that. We did a lot of adjustments last year on everybody from commissioner salary to the justice of the peace and jail and road and bridge. And I just think that that's necessary for that amount. We just took $200,000 out of the vehicle line in the sheriff's department. And I think we need to put that $46,000 into raises for those hourly employees.
And since you're actually doing you're using a discussion to do a selling, I would like to discuss that also. Steve, do you have anything?
Well, I just, I'm a little torn on it, but I do want to say that I have a great deal of respect for the sheriff's department. And, I do think that they are grossly underpaid for what they do and the dangers that come with it. I don't want to use the word competitive because in this day and age, the world that we're in, a lot of people don't want to do policing, so it's going to get more and more difficult over in the foreseeable future to find good officers. My brother's officer in Austin, and they're already seeing it. There's huge shortages everywhere because of not only the way they've been treated over the last 3 to 5 years, and the pay and the job that they have to do is very dangerous. So I do think that they should be compensated up to a certain point, but where do we draw the line? Are we going to keep chasing Freestone? Are we going to keep chasing other counties around us as they raise their pay every year? It's just not, you got to get to a point where we're going to have to make that tough decision. So at this point, I would be for doing it this one time to help them out and hopefully help the sheriff's department. But definitely there's a lot of discussion that's gonna have to be made in the foreseeable future.
Okay, and so, just so we're clear, since we're doing discussion here, I came up with a plan that if we would do away with some of the chiefs and give that money to the Indians, we would be talking about as much as a $3 an hour raise. But nobody wanted to do that. Nobody wanted to go in there and take away some of the chiefs' positions. So what you want is your cake and to eat it too, but that's okay. That's your motion that you made. Is there any other discussion on this item? And let me say one last thing about that when we're in discussion here. One last thing is, city of Cossey, the city of Groesbeck, the city of Mejia are all trying to stay competitive with us. And it's making it harder on the smaller counties or cities here in the county. I will tell you that right now. The city of Mejia doesn't have it. The city of Groesbeck can't give it. The mayor here from Cossey, he'll have to raise his up to try to stay with us. So by what we do here in the county, it does affect all of our cities within the county.
Our job
That being
is to
said-
take care of the citizens of Limestone County.
And Bobby, I know you forget this sometimes, but Mejia's in Limestone County.
I understand.
There's the Groesbeck. Yeah, they're in Limestone County. Cossey's in Limestone County. Anyway, we do have a motion and a second. Let's go ahead and go forward. I'm gonna ask on Bobby's motion, Bobby?
Yay.
Steve?
Yay.
Sonny?
No.
Bill Ed? No. That's a tie, so I'm gonna break the tie with a no. We're not gonna give the dollar. Okay, anything else?
Yes, sir.
I would like to say something. I fully support the sheriff's department 100%, but one of my main concerns is, and my reasoning why the way I'm voting is because we have other departments such as road and bridge and other areas, and I think we're just kind of opening up a can of worms as far as that goes.
Okay.
I'll have to agree with him on that.
All right, well, thank y'all very much on that.
One other,
Go ahead, sir.
more of a commitment than a budget change. We took out 200,000 out of the vehicle line. I would like to hold people, see, we have a commitment to buy 2 sheriff's cars out of the American Rescue money and to buy a 3rd car out of the sale of the surplus materials, surplus vehicles on an if needed basis. Again, we're committing to buy 2 sheriff's cars. We took it all out of the budget, but we're committed to buy 2 out of American Rescue and buy another one out of the funds from the sale of the surplus stuff if needed.
One thing.
Which we would vote on that time. and-
We'll vote on it at that time. Let me say this. As y'all saw with the list that I came up with, we are not in that bad shape we're in right now. And even during the year, even during the budget year, we've got a large contingency. We've got American Rescue monies. What I'm saying is we don't have to effectively set our tax rate based on what we might be, although we do that some. But we've got ways to buy these things without affecting the tax rate. And that's all I'm thinking about right now, is the tax rate for the citizens of Limestone County are gonna have to write checks out on January 31st. That being said, let's go ahead and unless there's anything else, let's go to item number 23, and that's to close the 20.
Judge, I asked for a poll commitment that we're going to buy 2 cars out of American Rescue and one if needed on the other, and I'd just like to hear from another commissioner.
It's not on the agenda to do that, and we say it's under the budget workshop, and I thought we'd already voted on that. Do you want to make that a motion? Then we'll consider something later.
I'd like a motion that we put it on the next agenda.
Okay, let's put it on this agenda.
Then we'd always change the budget at that point. In other words, we're not gonna buy any patrol cars, then we're gonna have to put some back.
Well, let me say this. At some point in time, we've got to set a tax rate. And then we have to set the actual budget for the people. So we have to get this done.
If you want to approve the budget, do a final approval of the budget on September 13th, then we're going to have to hold a special meeting, either this Friday or Monday, to set the date and time.
Okay.
Or if you're going to approve the budget on the last meeting of September, if you're going to approve the budget on the last meeting of September, then on the September 13th meeting, you would have to have a motion or have an agenda item to set the date and time.
Judge, I have no problem with the budget that we just done.
Okay.
We've obviously voted down the dollar raise, so I have no problem with it, other than we took out everything. We took out 200,000, and we only added 115 back in.
Bobby, we don't have to add money.
I'm done.
We give it back
Let
sometime.
me finish. I'm okay with that budget as long as we have a commitment that we're going to buy 2 cars out of American Rescue. If we don't buy those 2 cars out of American Rescue money, and we do agree that I'm just asking for just polling and conversation, not official, official motions and seconds, that we have that commitment, because if we don't, then I would propose that we add 100,000 back into the budget to buy 2 patrol cars. And I don't want to do that. I'd rather buy it out of American Rescue money than out of the tax dollars. And I think everybody in here does, but I want to hear that in public.
Can I ask one thing?
Um,
It's in regards to the purchase of vehicles of your money that's not gonna come out of the tax money.
Now, I think
Right now, we're about to return over $300,000 in used salaries. The president's also bringing in about $360,000 a year. It secures phone systems, the inmate phone systems, $118,000 a year. Inmate housing from other counties, $368,000 a year. So there's more money coming in that can pay for these vehicles, and we really need vehicles. We still have 2013 and 2 2015s that have well over 200,000 miles on the road.
I'm for,
That's what we're trying to replace.
We'll take it out of the American Rescue.
Go ahead, too.
Does anybody have a problem with us, whatever the county might need to be legally used, American Rescue Funds? Does anyone have a problem using that money for that?
I have no problem.
That's good. We can get 2 of those, and we don't need them in the budget. That's all. And then, and the second part of that phrase was that the salary, the money from the turn to the other, at a later date, we would turn that on an as-need basis to buy 30.
If need be,
Okay?
no one's arguing that.
Okay.
Okay, so at this point right now, I'm gonna go to item number 23, and it's proposed 2022 tax rate. And I am proposing that we do the 7.118. 7.118, that's what we have in this picture.
I'll let y'all make the motion second.
Do I? Go ahead.
So when I requested this be put on the agenda, it was if you were ready to propose the rate. It sounds like you are ready to propose the rate. So since it's going to be above the effective rate, we will need to set a time and date for the public hearing. However, the question came up this morning, did you need the agenda item to set the time and date for the public hearing on the budget? Of course, we all know the budget has to be adopted before the tax rate can be adopted. So when considering the time and date to actually adopt the tax rate, we'll need to know when you're gonna hold that public hearing
On the budget.
on the budget.
Now,
So-
it's 2
Or
separate things.
what date you're wanting to adopt the budget, because you have to adopt the budget before you adopt the final tax rates.
Okay. That's it.
So, and that's what Natasha was saying a few minutes ago, you could have a special meeting either on the 26th or the 29th to set the hearing, for the budget adoption and adopt the budget on the 13th.
26th is Friday. Y'all good with that? 9 o'clock Friday? All right. Sometime I'll make sure we get an agenda item out. And on that agenda, make sure I understand correctly, we need to, number 1, approve the budget.
No, on that one, that meeting, you're just gonna set the time, date, and place for the public hearing, to adopt the budget.
Hang on a second. Time, date, and place to adopt the
To
budget.
hold the public hearing and adopt the budget.
At that point in time, then the next item is going to be to approve the tax rate.
And then you would set that, if you wanna finalize everything on the 13th, you would need to set that hearing for the 13th.
Because the meeting on Friday is only to publicly say when you're having the,
Which would be
the
13th.
public hearing for the public to come before you finally vote. You have to hold a public hearing on that agenda, and then If nobody shows, nobody wants to discuss it, then you have your motion or your item on there to approve the budget. And then the next item, and that'll all take place on the 13th. So what we need you to do on the 26th is officially say that the 13th is the day, is the public hearing, and the date and time.
Now, totally off that subject, could we back up to an agenda item that was on there about publishing for public officials? Now that we know we're doing 5%, we still need to.
I thought we were changing that.
Well, I mean, because if you're still going with the 5%, then, I mean, all I needed on this, what was on this agenda, was just y'all giving me permission that once you agree on whatever amount you're gonna do, that I can go ahead and then publish it.
I think we can back up to that agenda item and move to do that.
So if y'all are on agreement on the 5% and that's not changing, then that's the numbers that I have figured and what I presented to you, was with the 5%.
We'll go back to that. All right, if Judge Houston.
I'm fine, we'll go back to that, make sure that we get that. You know, the problem is that not y'all, and not Natasha, and not Stacy, the state of Texas makes it so tough to know when you have to dot every I and cross every T.
Yeah.
And so there's about 8 different times that. so
Well, the problem is they have 4 different departments that has responsibility for doing all that.
We're just trying to do things legal.
Do we actually need to make a motion, Judge?
On the county officials.
No, well, no, where we are.
Not
To propose the tax rate,
Are we putting it all as one?
I'm talking about a motion to meet on the 26th.
No, we don't need a motion. Yeah, we're just gonna do that. Chantel will have an agenda.
So
In the
you're-
meantime, we'll figure out everything we need to have on that agenda.
yeah,
I'll get
it'll
these
just
two
be that
ladies
one
to
item.
Make sure that we have it.
So now for the proposal of the tax rate, you would just need to propose the 0.7118 and set the date and time for the public hearing for the September 13th, whatever time
And we need to do
you
that.
choose.
On the
That's
item,
what you're gonna do
23
today.
that you're on.
On 23, okay.
Yes.
So, and you're saying that we need to do that on the 13th, right?
Do it on the 26th.
If that's the day you, no, that's on the 13th. If that's the day you have planned to hold the budget hearing and adopt the budget, then you'll do the tax immediately following
But
that
we're gonna adopt that on the 26th.
on the 13th.
No, we're gonna set the
Yeah.
date of the
You're gonna set-
13th on the
yes.
26th.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're meeting the 26th just to
You're
set
meeting
that.
the 26th to set the
Just
date
the
and
date, that's all we're
time,
doing.
to officially announce the date and time, because then, for the 13th, because then we have to run a special ad in the paper to let the public know, and we have to put that date and time in the paper. But it has to be under, its own agenda item with a motion and a vote to do that. So that's what we're doing the 26th. Right now, on the item 23, you can do a vote and a motion to propose the rate and also say that you're going to adopt this rate on September 13th.
Did y'all hear that? Does anyone want to make that in the form of a motion?
I'll make a motion that we set the tax rate at the 0.7118 to be voted on September 13th.
That good enough?
Is that
What time?
9 o'clock.
9 a.m.?
Uh,
That works.
Okay, we have a motion. And a second. Do we have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? The next item is to adjourn, but let me say something before we do that. Gentlemen, make sure y'all stick around. These guys have stayed here the whole time. Please sign the plan.
Wait a minute. Before we adjourn, we want to go back to the other item and prove that 5%, so that she can publish it.
You're actually on item 14. It was to authorize me to publish the elected official salaries, and there was a motion and a second.
Did we go
Did you get it? Item 14.
Everyone got reminded.
No, okay.
Oh, there wasn't.
Let's go ahead and make sure we vote on that. Then we have a motion and a second. Anybody, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, there we go. All right, so y'all make sure you sign the plan for these gentlemen, and then we'll call this one done, and we'll try to get all the exact verbiage before the next meeting. Tasha and Stacy, please.